So here we are with the CRT analog board for the Model 2. The folks on the Vintage Computer Federation forums are telling me that this is the analog board to use now. I don't know if it's showing up very good on the camera or not, but I can see a little blue stuff underneath of that on top of those vents, and I think that may be capacitor jizz. But this is the analog board that was working when we first got that machine and tried to fire it up. So I guess I'll just try to check them in circuit, although that's not the best way to do things. If you've got other components, you know, in parallel with the capacitor, it can fuck your readings up, but I don't want to desolder them and try it. So all of the capacitors test good enough, except for that one axial capacitor down there right next to the flyback, and I can't see a capacitance value listed on it. It must be, the value must be down towards the board, but my meter says that it's okay if it's less than 4.7 microfarads, which seems pretty borderline to me. Part of me wants to desolder it and see if I can see what value it's supposed to be, but if it's borderline already and I apply heat to it, it'll just make it worse. And then I may fuck it up and we won't have a capacitor that's good enough to put in there at all then. So I don't know, man. I guess I'll desolder the sucker and see. Hopefully this won't go bad. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. So yeah, that was a 1 microfarad capacitor, so false alarm. It looks like everything on this analog board is fine. Alright, Backplane. Recall that I said that I thought these capacitors here looked a little funny. They seem like they've got a little bulge down here in the one side, and lo and behold, these two are just right on the edge of having bad ESR. And funnily enough, this one here, which looks fine, it's done, man. It's really bad. So I guess we're just gonna have to replace all 3 of these, but that's good because these are not 100 microfarad capacitors. So yeah, all these capacitors are 470 microfarad. The axial 470s I've got are 50 volt capacitors, and these are, well, of course they put the values on the bottom of the fucking things when they put them in here, but I think these are probably 16 volt. Because that's what that one is. You know, the voltage rating's fine as long as it's higher. These are just a little bit bigger, but I don't think they'll get in the way of anything. They sit down against the board there. They won't interfere with the expansion cards at all. And when we put these in to replace these, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make sure the value's facing up. If I ever catch the guy that installed those like that, I'm going to give him a firm talking to after I whip his ass. I've got a couple different voltage ratings, 470 radial here. There's a 16 volt, which is what's in there. But I've got these, what are these? These are higher voltage. These are 35 volt, but they've got really short leads on the bottom, and I kind of like to use a higher voltage rating capacitor when it will fit in this stuff, because I think they last longer when they're not you know, so close to operating at, you know, at the edge of tolerances and stuff like that. So, you know, 35 volt cap, in my experience, which granted I may be full of shit, it will last longer than a 16 volt cap. So, and these are Rubicons too, and I don't know what these are. These are Nichicons, so they're both really good capacitors. Oh, those are Chinesium capacitors there. We don't want to fuck with them. I guess that's why I put them in the bag, so I wouldn't accidentally use them for something that mattered. They must have laid this one over on its side for a reason. I don't know. I hope it won't be in the way. I mean, I don't think it'll be in the way if I stand it up there. Yeah, it'll be fine. The foil's starting to lift here on the back, so we're gonna have to be kind of careful. There we go. Oh, this joint right here just isn't good. That is just too big. That doesn't look too bad. Alright, card cage back in. Everything's still going to plan. Alright, the CRT frame's back on, and I continue to be amazed by just how chintzy the thing is. But I guess it'll be more solid when the CRT's back in. Well, I figured out why the anode cap was loose. Super panic moment. One of the clips broke off because I'm a dumbass, but fortuitously I had a junk monitor that I was able to steal some pieces out of to fix this one, so I think that'll probably do her. I sure as shit hope so anyway. Now, all that jizz that I thought was Coca-Cola that somebody had spilled into the machine, that was all over the side of this CRT, I think that might have been like dielectric grease from the anode cap that broke down and ran all over the place. See, if you look at the other CRT here, this is the RCA tube. All this red stuff, that's the dielectric anode jizz that goes on there. It keeps the high voltage, the high tension lead here from shorting into the glass. There's a coating around here. It keeps it from shorting into that coating and fucking the tube up. So this one has some funk on it too, but it doesn't look like it's all migrated out of there like it did on the other tube. So I'll be fucked if I know. But when you put these anode caps back on, I mean, normally you just reuse the grease that was on there, right? But the grease from this tube had migrated all over the fucking place, so I cleaned it off, and we're gonna have to put a new dielectric grease around where this thing goes, and that should keep the high tension clips from arcing to the side of the tube there. I didn't realize that was broken until I already put the CRT in and was starting to hook everything back up. So not cool. We don't want to get any on the clips, you know what I'm saying? Because this is an insulating grease, right? So we don't want it on the clips. We want them to make a good connection, but we want to get it all over this cup. You know what I'm saying? But we don't want to just slather it on there willy-nilly, you know, because then it'll squish out and get on the clips. So I don't know. I may be full of shit and doing this wrong and all that stuff, because I'm not a professional. I'm just a dumbass, you know, doing stuff in a shack. That is really old dielectric grease, and the first that came out was very runny, and then what came out after that was very gloopy. It reminds me of that certain David Allan Coe song. Okay, we got it all splooged up. Let's stick it in. Now how much of a mess can I make trying to connect to the bastard? Get down in there, wires. Get down in there where you're supposed to be. Now the goal of this operation is not to get the dielectric grease on the contacts. Good luck. May the force be with you. There it goes. Oh, it's so tight. Now I'm gonna fall right to sleep. Alright, the CRT is all installified and most everything's plugged in. I am going to have to put the faceplate back on now. I hoped I wouldn't have to yet, but I already put the brightness and contrast controls into their proper places, and as you can see, the old video wiring harness is not exactly not exactly great. So I'm not going to use that to test things. I'll just have to hook the front panel back up, and I've got to put the short switches back in since we decided those were better. Alright, well, like I always say, I'm not an analog guy, so I hope to shit that I didn't fuck up the tube or the analog board or any of that stuff. But we ought to have everything ready to go again. I'll put you all up here where you can see the magic smoke come out. Oh God, I hope I don't destroy this thing. Oh Jesus. Okay, I heard the twerp where the high voltage came up. The fan's running. I didn't see any smoke. I may have hooked the pots up backwards. Oh, we got a raster, boys. We got a raster. It looks like we need to adjust the vertical size a little bit, but I'd say everything's working so far. Fuck yeah. Of course, I don't have the power LED hooked up yet. Well, it would appear that some Neanderthal used self-tapping screws in these molded in brass threaded inserts that are supposed to take fucking machine screws, so that's a pain in the ass. I've been trying to re-thread them with a machine screw. It's still got good threads down in the bottom, but it gets real tight. I don't know, it might end up cracking the plastic. I think the threads may be too fucked up. I might have to just use the self-tapping screws again. And see the metal plates, like the bottom metal plate here, it takes those self-tapping screws, but anywhere in the plastic stuff where there's a fucking brass insert, guys, like, seriously, those always take machine screws. Grumble. Unpro tip here, we got to start with this screw in the upper left hand corner first, because it is a real bitch to get started. There's a hole in this plate back here that the screwdriver and nut driver has to go through, so I think the easiest way to do this is going to have to be to hold the screw right there and then bring the plastic to meet it, getting it latched into the damn things in the bottom, and then get the screw started. That's kind of a pain in the ass. Thanks, Tandy. Okay, I think they're in now. Now will it start? The two metal frames are built a little bit differently. The old one, the CRT attaches to the side panels on all four corners, and this one, the CRT attaches to the top piece in the top two corners and the side panels in the bottom two corners. And there's something a little bit different. The CRT is about a ½ inch too far this way, and you can see the black edge of the tube right here along this edge of the bezel, and it's too close over here. There may be enough slop in the places where the CRT mounts to do something about that, but I'll have to take the front panel all back off to do that, I guess. So that's fine. Everything's groovy and working so far. Otherwise, I think presumably that tall video there. Look there. We've got the dot of doom in the center. That's interesting. Might have to try to fix that sometime. Anyway, what was I talking about? Fuck. I think I'll end this video here so that I can edit it and get it uploaded before super late. So, thanks for joining me, folks. We're getting along good so far. Alright. Hopefully nothing will go wrong at the last minute and fuck everything up. See you next time.